So what is malt anyway? Well, remember that whiskey is made from grain, and grains are starches. Fermentation requires the presence of sugar. Grains are starches. How do you convert those grain starches to fermentable grain sugars? Well, to do this, they use something called barley malt. And I grew up thinking that malt was another kind of grain, thanks to that nursery rhyme that I hope a few of you still remember. This is the house that Jack built. This is the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house, and so on and so forth. So I thought that malt was another kind of grain, but malt is just barley that's been allowed to sprout. And really, they can use any kind of cereal grain, but almost all the time they use barley. It's barley that's been allowed to sprout. And once it has just germinated, there are enzymes in that little seedling that can actually convert grain starches to fermentable grain sugars. So they allow the barley to malt, and then they dry it and they grind it up. And in the meantime, they take all the other grains they're going to use to make whiskey, and they put it in a big vat and they fill it with water and they heat it up. They start to just cook it. And you know how when you make oats in the morning, the starches leach out into the water, it gets all thick and goopy. Well, that happens to these grains too. The starches leach out into the water, it gets all thick and goopy. And when that happens, they add that dried ground barley malt, and the enzymes in the malt take over and convert all the starches in the water to fermentable grain sugars. And that's what malt is. Now you know.